So the argument could be made, obviously, that because the United States Congress has not declared war in Iran, that President Trump did not have the authority, was not authorized to begin a military operation against Iran.
So I guess the question then is, has the Supreme Court ever addressed that issue then?
That really is the question. So the Supreme Court has not addressed this issue. The lower federal courts have been asked this issue in various contexts. And what the lower courts have essentially said is that the courts should not get involved in this question. They've used various doctrines, such as the political question doctrine, to say that there are too many uncertainties here that the court would not be in a position to evaluate, and that this is something that needs to be worked out politically between the two branches. But in some contexts, this is because the real conflict of the president doing one thing and Congress directing something different has not really been squarely presented before the Supreme Court. So in some ways, the answer to these questions has not really been clearly presented or clearly resolved.
And you raised the political question doctrine. I think we can likely talk about that on a full podcast episode later on. But just quickly, if you could kind of restate, you gave a little bit of the definition in your answer, but could you just restate what the political question doctrine is?
Yeah, the political question doctrine is just a situation where the court feels like for various policy reasons, it is inappropriate for the court to intervene in a decision that is going to affect the two other branches of government, where there are various policy reasons, essentially, that those institutions will need to probably figure it out on their own as to how they're going to resolve these conflicts. And the war powers seems to have been one of those powers, where the courts have just decided for various reasons that it's a situation that they are going to try very hard not to get involved in. In the modern times, you can see the reason that a president would be given more leeway to engage in military activity without waiting for Congress, because we're living in a time of hair trigger alerts and of military situations that might happen very, very quickly. So if you're an originalist, you would probably not be somebody who would give the president a lot of power in this situation. Whereas if you were a pragmatist, which is a different type of constitutional interpretation, then you would be somebody who would say, well, in this situation, we probably realistically have to give the president some authority to act without waiting for Congress.